I just finished that up. So I'm going to move the hoop so that we can get that really pretty little beads, that little chain that we're going to put the beads on. Now if you'll see, my blue line is going across. That's where I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to leave a couple of these spaced and stop my beads about here so I don't have to cut into my beads, because we're going to sew that edge. But before we start that, look what I found. I have several different books, but this one is called Doodle Stitching by Amy Ray. And look how cute that is. Do you guys have this book? Anyway, it does have the stitches here in the front. So I thought, instead of calling it stab stitch or whatever I make up, I went through, and here's the stitch that I used today, the back stitch, where if you can see, you know, may come up and down and then come back up and then go back down into the same hole that you went down in before. And that will result in this. Now that's a really, really fine line because I only use 2 strands out of a 6-strand floss. So we are going to get ready to go on the beading, okay? Lucky for you, I pre-threaded my little needle because for beading you need a really fine needle. There are these, this says size 8 straw. You know, it's been so long since I've done any beading, but I mean, that's long and thin. I have one that is so thin, it's almost like a hair, seriously, but I can't, there's no way I can get it threaded. I do have the little threader, but the other needle that I really found, I think this is a betweens little needle. Well, it's a little bit longer than that, but the eye on it is really, really little. That's not the right one. What did I want to grab to show you? That was the one I used for the floss. This is the between that I, it's kind of like, say what I do, not, wait, say what I do, not what I say. Anyway, whatever that. Oh, do what I say, not do what I do. Okay, so this is just a fine regular thread, quilting thread. There are some wax threads that you can use for beading, but like I said, it's been a long time since I've been beading, so I'm just gonna kind of start picking it back up. But I keep all my beads. I saved, I think these were stuffed olive jars. And I have a whole cabinet full of different colored beads. There's different ways you can do it, but I just pour mine right into the lid. And I chose this because I just wanted to keep this one simple. So I just chose these kind of silvery beads. And because it's so fine, I'm just going to make a knot among the floss that's in the back, because you're not going to see that anyway. I don't want it to be too bulky because it is going to be glued down to that cardboard, and I just don't want it too bulky, so I'm just kind of knotting that around on itself. Make a knot. This is about the most simple beading that you can do. I want my beads to look pretty when I look at them, so I don't want to see the holes. So I'm going to go horizontal when I stitch them on, so the holes are on the side, if that made sense. So I'm coming up just on one side of that little bead chain, and then whatever needle you pick, just practice and make sure that the beads fit down over the eye of the needle before you start sewing. They're all done differently, so you might run into a bead that doesn't fit, but you'll just have to find another one. And then I'm just going to come down on the other side, and there's my first bead. And I'm just going to do that all the way up. And again, I'll do this so you can see I'm just picking up the bead with my needle and coming down on the other side. When I get to the end, I'll do a little knot stitch and tie it off on each other really good, but this gets me excited to start beading again. So what I told you earlier in the first part, where we were going to do some beading next Saturday and some embellishment and some stitching, I forgot that I had something else planned for you. So that will probably be, we are going to do that. That will probably be the third Saturday in January, because the first Saturday we are going to start the Whimsy block of the month. And you can go back and see that in a teaser, as well as then the second Saturday of every month, we are going to be doing the block of the month that I talked about starting in November. My color is, where I really want you to make a quilt for yourself or someone special using their birthstone color, their favorite color. I am choosing my birthstone color, which is topaz or citrine. My birthday was last month, so it's going to be kind of a yellow. But when we get to the end, I'll tell you what, give you a little hint at what our little teaser for Tuesday will be, and what we'll be doing next Saturday, because next Saturday Christmas will be over. Okay, if you are watching me, look how pretty that little strand is. I'm getting pretty close. I was talking and talking. I'm getting pretty close to my edge here, so I think I'm going to stop it there because I want room for stitching and I don't want to stitch over my beads. So I think it's time to tie it off, which I will do. You guys know that old fable or tale about the shoemakers whose kids didn't have any shoes? It's kind of like the optician who doesn't have glasses that she can see out of. I'm due for a change and haven't got new glasses yet, so I do struggle a little bit right now. Okay, so we will have, let me get these beads put away, otherwise I am going to have a big mess. I might anyway, but okay. So let's talk about how we got this far. So when I fold that over, I've got two on that side and one really cute one on that side. So just to recap real quick, me please at Black Thread Studio at yahoo.com, and you'll get these. When you get these, you trace it on this Mylar template, both of them. You cut them out and you get this. There will be some instructions on there too. And you get this, and then we traced on the fabric and we embellished, and now we're getting ready to do the cardboard part. So what I need is, I'm going to set these down and we're going to use these. Now I did talk about just using a cardstock. This is the one that I was going to use for my templates, and I thought that would be so pretty on the inside, which it would be. And then I also had this. You can just, this is like craft paper folders that I had. That's what I used for this one. So I just cut that apart, and that's the one we're going to use again. I just cut it apart. I had to lay it out, cut down the pocket so I would have enough room to fit this. So get your cardstock. I actually laid my fold flap line along this line. I thought it would be so much easier to cut. I already had that line to go by. And don't forget to use a pencil, because I don't want you to see your marks on it like I did on this first one, where it had those really dark black Sharpie marks. We don't want that, okay? And I could have turned it inside out, you know, and had those on the inside, but I messed that one up. That's all I can say. So to avoid messing up, just use a light pencil. Just go around and trace your whole thing. Now you'll want to use paper scissors. I'm wondering too when I get to having to cut this out in front of you guys, because Jim tried to sharpen my scissors, my good fabric scissors for me, and oh, he used just a regular knife sharpener thing and ruined my scissors. But I didn't want to tell him because he was so nice to try to help me, but they're ruined. So when we go to cut the fabric out, I'll show you. But now I have to take them to get sharpened by a professional. Okay, let's cut this out. So we are cutting this out. You know, you do want to be as careful and precise on this one as you can, because and I'll show you how I'm going to mark the fold lines in just a second and how we're going to score it. So I'm going to cut around here. You know, if you don't want to see the marks, I guess, you know, cut maybe on the inside of the pencil mark. But if I fold this right, if I do it right, the pencil lines will be on the inside. Why is it so hard to do things and then have to do it backwards? And the thing is, for my work as an optician, everything is backwards. Because when I say for my left, me looking at you, it's you're right. So you'd think I'd be used to it, but okay, so we've got that far. Now I did mark those little cutouts, those little notches. I'm going to try to get that as smooth as I can. Now you guys keep in mind, I'm not a professional, I just have fun and like what I'm doing. So if you have a better technique, go for it and let me know. Okay. All right. So to get a ruler, I did try like a little boning file to score where I'm going to fold this, but it didn't work that well. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. But I ended up using the edge of my scissors. I think I'm gonna have to get, the thing is, I know I have a lot of these supplies, I just have to go hunt for them. Like a, what do I want to say, like a cutting blade, a box cutter. But anyway, I lined up on the edges here, just corner to corner where those little dips are, and I'm gonna score it. I think I did, on the heavier one I did, or when I was using the boning file and it didn't work as well, I think I did 3 or 4 times. This I just did twice. Okay, this is where this template comes in. Okay, now again, you know what? You do need this. And the other, the part 1, I said to just cut this off, but you do need it on your template. When you cut it off, I gotta think about what I'm doing here. Yeah, no, you do need it. Because look, when I line it up, I'm lining it up perfectly. Okay, I have to turn this so I can score it. If you're confused, don't be. We'll straighten it out because I'm confusing myself right now too, but just go with the way it is. Okay, okay. All right, so I'm gonna hold this down tight. I'm gonna score that twice, just following that shape. I'll come down and do this one and score it. There's something about scoring that's very satisfying. I don't know what it is. Okay, and then we'll line that back up. That looks perfect, although it doesn't have to be perfect. It does look perfect. And I'll score this side. Going twice. I'm just kind of using the point of my scissors. I'm probably ruining them. Like I said, I'll have to get some other kind of something. I moved that a little bit, so I just made sure it's lining back up, and I did it twice. Okay, now on my scored end down here, where I have the dots, all I'm gonna do, that is lined up, I think you can see that. That's my shadow. I'm gonna scoot this over and put a mark there on the edge of the cardboard. I'll do it on this side as well. Then I'm gonna line up my ruler from the two marks I made, here and here. And I'll score that twice, and that's gonna be my fold line. The fold line is gonna be on the opposite side of the little divots, let's call them. Okay, so if this is gonna go this way, yeah. Okay, so I folded that. Let's do the fold line here. So everything's gonna fold to the inside, okay? I'll fold that there. And then on these, I'm gonna start right at that little point, and I'm just gonna roll around with it. And you can see how easily, with that score line, you just have to be a little bit careful on the edge so you get all the way up to that corner so you don't lose its shape, okay? I feel like I'm back on track. I don't know why I was confused for a minute. But you do need these lines on here, on that template. I think that's why I confused myself. Okay, this is gonna be perfectly ready to go, okay? Perfectly ready to go. So we've got this, we've got it marked out, embellished. Oh boy. These were my good Ginger scissors that Jim tried to sharpen. I don't think they're gonna work, but let's try. This is where I was talking about that you don't need this flat mark, where I trace that line and I don't need that flat mark. So I traced on that, another line underneath that dotted one. So I can cut right there. Okay, watch, these aren't gonna cut. They should cut like butter. Everyone knows that, right? And they don't. They're all jagged and rusty. I think I'm gonna try. Let me do the big part and then I'm gonna try. Oh, you're still there. Okay, now this one, do you see how bad those are? This one, do you see how close my stitching is to the edge? Just be really, really careful if you did that like I did. And I will end up stitching over that, and that's okay, because you know, that's what I wanted it to look like. Okay, I have to see what I did here, because when I traced over it for you guys, I think I made a line that wasn't quite right. So let me see here. Are you following me here? I've got that one, Do you guys have fun when we're doing this? Okay. I don't know what in the world I did, but I've got to fix it. And you know, I always say this, it doesn't have to be perfect, and I really mean that. But I want to kind of have some semblance of what I'm doing here. So this darker line, and you know what's going to happen probably. I'm going to cut it out on the wrong line. But this is why I like to share this stuff with you guys. So then when you can, I mean, you can see that, you know, it doesn't always go perfect. Sometimes it's a struggle to, but it's a fun struggle, right? We're having fun doing it. It's fun to figure it out and then have it come out the way you want it to. Okay, but this is also what takes so long on the videos and where I get cut off. So let's get this going. I am not going to try to get the blue marks off right now with you while we're recording, because if I do that, I won't be able to glue it on like I want to. I will just worry about dabbing it and getting it dabbed off after we get it made. I am a little confused at what line I'm cutting on. So once we get it cut out, I'm going to double check it. So once we get this cut out, then I'm going to press it really good. Let me get my iron heated up a little bit. We'll get it pressed out really good, and then there's different glues that you'll be able to use. I, of course, use my trusty Liquid Stitch, Unique Stitch. It has two different names, but once again, it is made by Dritz. They're calling this one the original one, which it was, this Liquid Stitch. Now it comes in a smaller bottle with yellow on it. Here. Unique Stitch. I use both of them, but when I can find this one, I get this one. You don't always see this one. I think they have it at Joann Fabrics. Oh, no, you know what? I got this one on Amazon. I really try to shop local, but I did get this one on Amazon because I had trouble finding it. Whoops. I don't know if I'm going to cut that out or not. I'll have to see. I'll have to see. We're just okay. Here's our piece. If you guys are still with me, this I do need to cut a little bit. I need to cut a little bit more off of this. This on the second line I had, it's a little bit still too long. So I am going to be getting really close to those beads. You know, I mean, seriously, you guys, if I had to worry about having this be perfect and the perfect, I mean, I want it to be nice and I'm working on it, on improving my skills. But if I had to worry about it all the time, I tell you what, I wouldn't do it. And you know, if I had to worry about it, it wouldn't be, it would take the fun out of it. So I'm gonna leave that little fall over in here. I'm not gonna redo the video. I'm cutting this down. I lined it up and it was just a little bit big on the corners. I think it would be nicer if I had my good scissors. But we won't talk about that. Have you seen that? It's a cartoon or something where it says, "You did what with my fabric scissors?" I actually think I had that on my Instagram, on one of my Instagram posts, because it's so perfect. It's like when my son graffitied some boxes and then cut up the boxes with my other good gingers, and then I ended up with paint, dull, and glue. Okay, this is what I'm looking at, if you can see. And you can see I didn't cut up to the blue line. That's going to hang over just a little bit, so I'm going to trim it a little bit more. And that's where I was really close to that little ornament, so I was trying to give a little leeway, but I do need to cut it off so that it fits the right way. You know, so just work with it a little bit. Make sure it's gonna fit. And I think at this point, I'm going to go iron it. I'm gonna get everything else ready. And then I think we'll do part 3 and get this baby done. Okay, all right, I'll be back.